In the 80s, when I was riding my bike down a street, if I actually went out a bit into the lane, I would get honked at and I would get yelled at reliably, get off the street. And with time, that slowly changed, where you can now ride down a street in Vancouver and you will not get yelled at. That is a sea change. Like the whole kind of attitude of people, not just people that ride bikes, but people that actually drive cars, are, at least today, much more accepting of other forms of transportation, and that's a big change. The thing about critical mass is that you can't say, oh, critical mass was calling for this and then the city did it. What critical mass did is it raised the issue. It showed how many cyclists there potentially were, because we had some critical masses which were over 2,000 cyclists. That showed the city that there was definitely a demographic out there that would use bicycle paths if you built them. Because the fear of public planners is, well, if we spend all this money building this infrastructure, will it be used? Because if it's not used, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And what things like critical mass did is it proved that it was real. There were people out there waiting to use the system if you put it in. Those big rides happened. They then started putting in bicycle paths and they got used. You know, we're all in this together. And the more people that ride bikes, of course, it makes it easier for cars, because then there's less cars on the road and they're not all parked all the time too. So yeah, it's a big change. And that's what I've seen on the ground.
One of the main points about the online versus offline I think I was trying to make is that very few groups are doing any face-to-face organizing anymore. And the only real place you'll find that happening is amongst the grassroots groups. You know, the causes that are popping up around things that people who aren't professionally paid activists are doing grassroots organizing because it's the natural thing that occurs to them, right? You go and talk to your neighbor. Mm-hmm. And most established organizations have forgotten that. And in essence, we're being paid to stay in our offices and to cook up reports and cook up good ads and to cook up great online campaigns. And all of those things have a place, but if you don't marry it with face-to-face organizing, you're not actually going to get anywhere. It's sort of my central contention in the report. And we have a big problem, I think, in our sector, in that almost no one's doing it, almost no money's going into face-to-face work. So that, I think, is why we're not advancing as fast as we need to. I think a lot of it is just as a good Canadian, you know, you don't want to disturb other people. So talking to strangers is actually really hard. You know, I had a conversation with someone who said he'd rather get arrested than go canvassing. So I thought, what's that about? You know, you'd rather have a criminal record than go and talk to strangers? So there is, I think, just on a personal level, a huge barrier to getting out there and knocking on doors and meeting people. And I feel that too. You know, I've done some canvassing work, and you know, the hardest thing is that first door. You have to walk up, you know, open someone's gate, and you're on their property. And, you know, there's something just that rebels inside against you, against that kind of stuff, right? But you know, you knock on the door, you have a conversation, and it goes away quickly as you realize people, you know, respond to authenticity, and they respond well if you're not trying to sell them something.
So my name's Ron Jacklin, and I'm the CEO of the Media Effects Group. And the Media Effects Group is a multimedia company. We're really involved in three areas: digital signage, we're involved in event production, and website production. Multimedia is a sought-after thing from high school. Everyone, you know, it's a creative position. There's a lot of competition out there for multimedia producers, and you can't go into it thinking, you know, this will be nice. You have to pay your dues, and paying your dues meaning there's a lot of late nights even after you graduate. You know, you go into the field, whether it's website production, video production, audio production, you know, film, television, it doesn't matter where you are. Because it's a sought after creative position, you're going to be working late hours, you know, making less than your counterparts. But I wouldn't leave it, you know, for anything. I love what I do. I can, as a business owner, I can, you know, take the jobs that I want to take. I get to travel. I get to, you know, when I finish a video production or an event and it went so well, there's nothing like that feeling. You know, I look at my counterparts in, you know, government, you know, jobs, and they just, you know, it's menial stuff day after day. They get paid better than I do, but I don't care.
My name is Jamie Bigger. I'm the executive director of Lead Now. We're primarily an online advocacy organization, and our goal is to help people achieve progress through democracy. Social change is non-linear, always, always, always. I mean, and this is like at the core of the idea of critical masses, is that things can be moving at what looks like really slow paces for years or decades. And then all of a sudden, boom, the old way becomes unsustainable and collapses. Nobody expected that the Soviet Union would peacefully, voluntarily dissolve. Nobody saw that coming. And I think that that logic of how people can connect around common values, they can begin to work together, they can begin to undermine dominant institutions while putting alternatives forward, and that can snowball in such a way that at a certain moment, the dominant institutions will crumble and be replaced. That is how large-scale social change happens, and that it's always unpredictable, and that the logical response to that is to work optimistically in the knowledge that changes that seem totally impossible today could be common sense 2 days from now, and that is how the world has always worked.